Good morning. This is the BLAINESWORLD podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You get more information and see past shows at our website, www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, in my Zoom studio in Fairview, North Carolina. And each week, we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And to that end, it's my pleasure to introduce three folks with an organization called Literacy Together. And they are Laura Bernhein, who's the Outreach and Communications Director at Literacy Together, and two of our guests from the organization, Katherine, Marx, and Dulce Rivera. And what you can do, folks, is you can wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this. So if you're watching this, those are our three guests today. And I'm really excited about having you on board today because I have to tell you up front, I've heard about the group, but I don't know too much about it. So it's going to be your job, Laura, and the job of the other folks to tell us a little bit about the organization. I should mention that the only person I have background for is Laura Bernhein, is a journalist born in Argentina with a passion for communications, traveling, learning new things, and raising her two children. She moved to the United States 20 years ago from Buenos Aires. Even though she is now building life in Asheville, she considers the world her home. She first arrived in Boulder, Colorado, where she improved her English skills thanks to generous volunteers in town. She fell in love with Literacy Together's mission in 2018 when first volunteering for ESLO, English as a Second Language program. She's thrilled to be a member of the staff. And what I'll have, Laura, is since I don't have the backgrounds, Katherine, if I can just ask you in terms of your background, please, who you are and your tie into this organization.
Oh, well, I actually, the way I became familiar with Literacy Together is through Laura, because for the last few years, I've decided to brush up on my Spanish from many, many years ago. So I started relearning Spanish and I joined a Spanish conversation group. And Laura was the host of one of these groups. And one day she happened to mention this organization and it sounded interesting to me. So I called her later and she told me about it. And that's how I found out. And I thought, well, let me give it a try. I have other students, but not language students. I've been teaching art to children for a number of years, freelance. And my background is totally different, though. I mean, I have an art background and engineering background, as a matter of fact, but I've always liked languages. And so when Laura told me about this, I took the tutor training course, which wasn't too long. And they hooked me up with a couple students. And later, Dulce became one of my students.
And
So
we'll
it's been
talk
great.
and we'll talk about that a little bit later too, about becoming a volunteer with the organization. But it sounds like one of the big advantages is you also get to improve your language skills in the language as well.
In Spanish?
Yeah, that you're tutoring with, right?
Yes, well, actually, both Spanish and English, because well, Dulce is a very advanced student, but a couple others, or three others that I've had, were at a lower level of English proficiency. So yes, I in those classes I have to use some of my Spanish. I mean, I don't have to, but it helps a lot. And but we try to do as much as of English as possible. And but I've also learned quite a bit about English. I mean, I was always pretty good with languages, but grammar and all that. But the books we use emphasize the grammar rules, and I've had to review a number of those and really became familiar more intricately with the rules of English in order to teach it, you know.
And I'll
So,
ask next.
yes.
Thank you. And I'll ask next, Dulce. You are I guess, a student in the organization, and so talk about your role as a student. How long have you been a student in this program?
Um, I have been 15 years already,
Okay, and you
and
came.
the organization.
So how did you find it in the first place? How did you find the organization?
Um, I found for a friend. I used to ask my friends to translate for me, and I got tired to depend on somebody to help me. So when I found this friend, she mentioned she studied one by one, and I thought this is perfect for me because one of the things I learned, everybody can learn in different way, because I used to be in I when I first came to USA, I start in big groups in AV Tech, but I couldn't learn nothing. So when I found by a friend, she mentioned I contact the organization. I start, and every teacher and tutor that I had for all these 15 years, that helps me different and with strategies, and I didn't afraid because it's second language and it is hard, but I want to I want to encourage myself and speak with the American people, and to show my kids we can, it's no matter the age we can grow in education. So that pushed me to learn this language, and it's been hard but not impossible. So
And,
all the teaching.
and as a compliment to you, I think I told you off the air, but I have to say your English is a lot better than my Spanish. So whatever you're doing, just continue. You're doing great, I think. And let me turn that to Laura, if I can. Same kind of question. How did you get involved in this organization in the first place?
I started volunteering at Literacy Together in 2018. I had a student from Mexico and another student from Argentina. I am originally from Argentina, came to the US 20 years ago. And I learned English with the help of volunteers back in Boulder, Colorado. So I wanted to give back to my community all the help I received when I came here, because it's so important to be able to speak the language and to be yourself. I remember consider myself a very funny person. I don't know if everyone agrees, but not being able to tell jokes in English was like really like frustrating. So that's the first thing I wanted to do. I wanted to learn English. So sorry.
Well, no, I'm gonna put you on the spot since you set yourself up. So okay, can you tell us a joke?
No,
Oh
no.
no.
It has to be spontaneous. It's a lot of pressure.
Oh, okay. Here I set you up. You had your big opportunity. You have a whole new career as a joke teller. But next time we have you on the show, we'll have you talk about it.
I will prepare something and stand
Okay.
up comedy or something like
Okay.
that.
So 2018, you started volunteering with the organization.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm very impressed with is that apparently the whole idea, and Dulce mentioned it, is that this is kind of one-on-one. You work with people. Is that everybody has just one person has one tutor? Is that how it works?
Yeah, let me start by saying that we have 4 programs.
Please.
We have an adult literacy program that works with people whose native language is English and who cannot read at a basic 3rd grade level. 1 in 10 adults in Buncombe County cannot read at that level. We also work with people who want to work for the GED tests, but those people speak English. Their native language is English. Then we have a youth literacy program. We are now working with 2 after-school programs in North Asheville and Montfort. I don't know if you know this, but Asheville City Schools has the 5th largest race-based achievement gap in the country.
Oh, no, I didn't know
that. It's a huge problem, and we are trying to overcome that problem. So that's why our youth literacy program is now working with 2 after-school programs that serve mostly children of color.
Well, what's perfect, what you just mentioned, is I think since you mentioned the 4 programs, I think this would be a good time to show you have a video, I think, to share with us, a short video.
Yes, that would be perfect. So
what we're doing here, just as Laura's getting set up, we're speaking with people involved in the Literacy Together program in Buncombe County. And Asheville. And specifically, we have volunteer, we have a communications director, and we have a student also. And Laura, you're going to then introduce what you're going to be showing us, if you would, please.
Yes, we are going to see 4 testimonials of different people we serve with our 4 programs. I'm going to share my screen.
It's all yours. Perfect. Good job.
Yeah. So we are going to go to YouTube. Okay. Is everyone seeing the screen?
Yeah, we can see the YouTube thing, Literacy Together programs. Go for it. Perfect. Yeah. That's great. Now, is there sound to this?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have to put the sound? Is there sound on now?
I work with kids like first through 5th grade.
Okay, let me try to fix that.
That's pretty good.
But you couldn't hear the video.
No, then we could hear. We heard
it. But it's maybe it's too, is it loud enough?
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Sounded good. So we're going to be hearing from a volunteer, from a student.
And kind of just like tutor kids and help them with their reading.
I have a condition. It's called dyslexia. I read letters and numbers backwards. She helped me with my reading and my letters and stuff.
I'm from Mexico, and I came here in 1999. I mean, make me so happy to find this organization to provide us ESL.
My name is James, and I buy my books are from the mail. Toy Park Imagination Library.
Son James has got the books ever since he was born. He's got them every month, and he just loves reading, loves getting the books in the mail. I made it through 10th grade. That's whenever I left out of school after 10th grade. Dropped out and went to work. Like if you're trying to buy a house or something, and you go to the bank, they look at you a little different. When you put on that application, they'll ask what grade you graduated.
School can be a lot of pressure on kids. They're like, oh, well, I'm not smart. And so it helps with their self-confidence.
In 3rd grade, I used to be like a 1st grade reading level, and now I'm in like a 4th grade reading level now.
She, through this program, has got books in the hands of so many children that won't have to face that hurdle.
Hello, I'm going to read it to you. You ready? One night as Max was leaving Grandpa's house.
Just having the new book coming, so he'd be excited to read that book.
They are fun stories. Thank you for all the books, Ollie. I sure appreciate that.
And I should be reading this when people listen to it on podcast. Daniel came to the program a bunch of years ago.
Good. He didn't push you. You worked at your pace.
We talked over the phone a couple times a week.
Working with Ed, that really helped on my reading.
After a little more than a year of tutoring, Daniel took its GED test and passed.
I went through here first. I'd have never passed it.
I think no matter what your age or where you're at in your life, it's never too late.
I love those classes. I have busy life working and with my son. He's autistic.
Olga needed to have an important meeting at school about her autistic son.
All the teachers and therapists, they told me we have to wait. It's because they don't have interpreters.
And she said, I'll do it without the interpreter.
Because of the ESL classes she took, Olga was able to get her son the help he needed.
The first thing I told my son was, I did it for you. My son is the most important thing in my life.
Very proud very proud of her. Yeah.
English for speakers of other languages. Adult literacy. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Youth literacy. Youth literacy.
It's really exciting to see like them grow and get better.
Yeah, she's good at explaining.
Yeah, and definitely really rewarding. Yeah, because you can see the kids grow, and you're like, oh well, I did that. Like I helped them, you know, get to where they are. It's a great feeling.
Don't let it hold you back. That's all I can say. Don't be ashamed of it. I mean, you're never too old. Never.
It's very rewarding. Very rewarding. For me, it's the students. They inspire.
Literacy together, transforming lives through literacy. And you can come back. Well, that was great. But I'm looking at this and I see Dulce and Katherine thinking that they want to be in the next video. Is that correct? So when we do another video, Dulce, you want to be on the video?
No.
No. we can make you a star. But talk
She's a star.
She is a star. Great. Talk a little bit about then what you saw in the video. So you've been working with a tutor for quite some period of time. How long do you spend with the tutor, each week or each month? How does that work, Dulce?
Well, the program I am right now, well, I have been, is 2 hours by week. So that is very valuable because it's one-on-one, one by one, and it's very, very helpful for me. In my case, I can learn more, I can ask questions, I can able to repeat again which part I didn't understand. In case of the conjugation of the verbs, the times is what we're working right now, my teacher and I, in 2 hours every week. That can help you to review what we did on that 2 hours and make a homework. The homework I had all these 15 years that helps me improve writing, reading, and speak. I do not speak 100% okay or good, but I still learning. And maybe people can say it's 2 hours not enough. For me, in my experience, is very valuable because that helps me on all these 15 years. I can, when I go to the doctor office, when I go to gas station, when I go to a meeting with my kids' teachers, I do not asking for translator. And so that helps me to improve my pronunciation.
And talk a little bit, Katherine, if you would, about what Dulce just mentioned. Do you have the same kind of thing? You're working with students on a one-on-one basis. Is that a 2 hour block time, or is it sometimes longer, shorter? How does that work, Katherine?
Well, it's the 2 hours exactly with the student, but the good thing about working one-on-one with a student, which I prefer, that there is the option to work with more than one student at once, but I told Literacy Together I prefer one-on-one because I can focus on that student and I just work better that way. So to me, with each student, then I can concentrate on what they might need. And so I often make some outside homework that, you know, if they have time to do the homework outside of the class, they do. But, you know, my students are very busy. And so if they don't have time outside of the class, that's fine. We'll work on it in the class the next time. But I can think about what it is I think they need, what they might be having trouble with. And I design my own homework and write my own homework to try to help them with their specific needs. And we just go over that as much as we need.
And Laura, talk a little bit about the program, especially when we had a COVID and the pandemic. That probably impacted, were people doing this via Zoom, or what was happening then?
Yeah, so Dulce and Katherine, they work with our ESOL program, English for Speakers of Other Languages. That's our biggest program. We serve 250 students a year. All of our teachers are volunteers, and most classes are one-on-one. And we used to do in-person classes only, but during the pandemic, because of the pandemic, and after the pandemic, we are still doing in-person or remote classes. It's up to the student and the tutor. They can choose what they want to do. Right now, this program is working with tutors from all over the country, all over the world. We have ESOL tutors from Germany, Wales, Egypt, and I want to say that the tutors don't need to speak the students' language. It can be helpful sometimes, but it's not necessary.
Now, you tutor also, is that correct?
No, now I don't tutor anymore.
You're not tutoring, you're just kind of running the program. But let me ask you then, in terms of Katherine, what Laura just mentioned, do you have preference as to in-person or Zoom? Do you have preference?
Well, I started just less than 2 years ago. So it was during COVID. So I started online. And as a matter of fact, I don't live in Asheville. I live elsewhere. And during the winter, I was across the country in Arizona. So doing it online is great because I can be anywhere. It didn't really impact me at all. It's fine. So I've never really done the English tutoring in person.
Oh, interesting. And Dulce, I'll ask you the same question. So you had Katherine then was online, like we're doing now via Zoom. Have you had any tutors who were in person with you, or?
Yeah, I have been in this program for 15 years. So we start in person, but after the pandemic, we start via Zoom. That is good too, because and the computer can able to share the screen and the exercise. So it's good. So it's good in both ways. But yes, I start by person.
And I guess you being a good example of it in terms of being able to do it on screen or Zoom with Katherine, you also don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to, you can be at home, and so I guess that's a very convenient thing. Laura, talk a little bit about your needs in terms of being the coordinator of the program, the outreach and communications director. First of all, what does that mean? What does that job entail?
Well, I take care of the communication, the official communications, social media. The outreach part is like building bridges between our organization and the community. Other organizations, people, volunteers. I do the volunteer recruitment. And right now we have a big need for ESOL tutors. We have a waiting list of 100 students. Most of them are from Latin America, and they have been waiting for months to get a tutor so they can learn English. So that's our biggest need when it comes about volunteers.
Let me jump in right there, because one of the reasons I'm glad you're here on this show, so we're going to be talking about that need. And I think Katherine said it, somebody said it, that you don't have to have a background in the language, right? You can know none of the language. And so if somebody wants to be a volunteer, Laura, what do they do?
Okay, they go to www.lit-together.org. And there is a section for become a volunteer. Become a volunteer. They can sign up to have an orientation meeting. We welcome everyone to our orientation meetings, people who want to volunteer, people who want to know more about us, students also. And after that, if they want to volunteer, they choose a program. The program director contacts them and they do a training. We train our tutors. So it's not like they have to work with nothing. We give them materials, the ESOL curriculum. It's incredible. I'm not a teacher, I am a journalist. And when I was using it, it was very simple, very easy. And again, tutors don't need to speak the student's language, and they don't have to have a background in education. So that's the process. And then the student and the tutor, they get matched based on their preferences. Like some people want to work with, I don't know, I said I wanted to work with on women from Latin America. Or some people say I want to work with a family or husband and wife, or I can only work on Wednesdays after 8. So based on their preferences and needs, they're matched and they start tutoring. It's very simple. It's 2 hours a week and the time commitment is a year.
Let me ask you to repeat that website again slowly, though. So if folks want to get more information. Yeah.
www.lead-together.org.
Okay, and they'll find information about volunteering about the organization.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me ask Katherine again then. So what motivated you initially to become a volunteer, Katherine?
What motivated me?
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, I heard about this program through Laura in the Spanish conversation class, and I thought I would just like to give it a try, because I've worked through my jobs with people from all over the world. And when I worked with them, we would discuss where they were from. And I've learned a lot about other countries from folks I've worked with. And they're fascinating. And I was just always fascinated with their stories. And also, I think somebody who is willing to leave their country where they're from and their language and come to another country where they may not know anybody. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they don't know the language. And it's, I think, a very scary process. And so I think the people who actually make that happen for themselves are special people that really have a tremendous amount of drive and vision for themselves. And I'm very impressed by that. And so I really enjoy helping because they all have a great, great attitude. They're incredibly grateful and they're very hard workers. They try very hard and they make progress, and it's very satisfying.
How long was the training that you went through?
Wasn't very long. I did it online. It was several sessions.
7 hours, 7, 8 hours. Yeah.
But was it helpful to you, Katherine? The training?
Yes, it was helpful. I would say that we receive books, the materials we need to use, and then I supplement those. But we definitely use specific books, and the student is assigned the level in the book by the agency. So I just received the book and I use that. And so it's very clear cut. And as I mentioned, if there's additional work I think they need, I create that myself or find it on the internet. And so it's kind of a learning process for me too, because it just depends on the student and what they need. And then I think, well, okay, it's not really in the book. The book is a very good basis, but if there's something additional they need, I just go search on the internet and I find little lesson plans or something about that topic. I create my own little homework for them. So it's the training was a very good starting point. I would say it wasn't the whole thing. It's just kind of learn as you go, but it works fine, because it's an interaction between the student and tutor, and you just see what the student needs. And I ask them questions like, what would help, and I see what would help. And so it's kind of tailor-made per student. And I like that.
And if I can ask Dulce a question. So what I got from that clip that Laura showed was that the organization provides materials for you. And what did you think? How were the materials? Are they interesting or are they fun, challenging? What do you think of the stuff they sent you?
Well, depends of each student level. It has what the student needs. So the teacher work with the student, work together. And for example, at the beginning, I do not understand nothing. So what the teacher I had at the first, at those 15 years ago, so what she did is she record herself all the activities and the stories in the books to can I can able to listen the activities to can help me to understand what I have to do in the exercises. So what I love on these books is it has a lot of vocabulary, stories, and exercising. It helped me to contribute the verbs, to use the verbs in present, past, and future. So that helps me to improve my writing. And the strategies what the teachers use are really impressive for me because each teacher used different strategies, but they didn't go to the next one until I understand the first what we study at that time. So that helps me. I love the books, the stories, especially the stories book, because with true stories, because that encouraged me to read more and to do the exercising and practice my writing. That helps me to I one of my dreams is to become a writer. I have that since I was in high school or middle school. I always like to write. And Leadership Together, I'm very blessed to be part of this program. All the group are very wonderful because that helps you to and encourage you to provide you materials, the time, and every year we have a test to see you how each students what improve. So that helps me. All the program helps me to write. I wrote a book this past year.
You have it, I think. You want to show it to us?
Yes, I have it, and it's
The sunrise and the fog.
Yes, I wrote. I speak. My first language is Spanish, but when after I have experience on my birthday, I went to see the sunrise with my family. So after the experience, that night I have a thought on my mind, and my mind start to write this story, everything what happened, and that one day before in English. So, and I calm myself and I start thinking, what is this? What I'm writing, this experience in English. So I talked to my teacher, and after that, and she said, well, you must be writing. So, and then I wrote my story, and the fourth page of my story is dedicated to Leadership Together.
Very
because
nice.
And all the teacher I have all these 15 years, I dedicated to them. And a teacher who passed away a few years ago, he was become my friend and be part of my children. He helped my children to read when he helped me past 7 years ago. So Leadership Together opened me a new doors. After I wrote my story, they helped me to publish my book on the blog and the page of Leadership Together, to people can see it's very worth it to learn English, because if you have passion, it's my this is what I think and I do. My passion is to write. So, if I do not encourage myself to learn English, I couldn't write this. And I working on my second story. It depends on you. It's the second story I working on. So if I do not have literacy together all my life, I couldn't have these two books. And plus my passion and your vision. So you have to vision your passion. What you have to do, you have to have a vision in your mind. Then you have to do your mission. So those three things for me are really, really important because my father, when I came to USA 22 years ago, my parents said, my daughter, if you want to live in America, you must learn English. And they always telling my sister and I, you have to learn English. It's very important because you have to communicate and you have to do it. And I encourage my friends, I encourage my husband and my kids. For me, what they are one part of my reasons I learn English to show them we can achieve our dreams if we can have those three things: passion, vision, and mission.
And let me jump in here, if I can, to ask Laura a question having to do with something Dulce said. And I'm curious about the materials. In other words, so you have the age limit of Laura's students, people you tutor, goes from what age to what age?
We tutor adults with this program, with the ESOL program, and we don't have an age limit.
Okay, so in terms of the material that Katherine mentioned, Dulce mentioned, is the material that you send out age appropriate? You know, like even if you can't read English, are you given stuff that has an adult story to it, a theme to it, or is it, you know?
It's usually related to like daily life situations, like going to the grocery store, going to fix your car, or going to your kids' schools. It's very simple.
So who writes the materials?
The books are called Ventures, and I don't remember the publisher, but you can check them online.
You know, but I'm thinking we have an opportunity here now for Dulce. You know, could see her being one of the writers of material because she lived through this stuff, and very impressive, Dulce, that you actually published this stuff. Katherine, did you see her books before they got published, or you saw them? Have you seen her books?
Oh yeah, she wrote the first one. She's completed the first one.
Right.
She's working on the second one. But yes, when she completed the first one, she sent me the draft of it, and I corrected whatever needed to be corrected grammatically. I don't change the content at all because Dulce is a wonderful writer. She has a special gift for writing. She really does. It's amazing. She is just a creative writer. I can tell by reading her stories, and even she wrote a poem recently and sent it to me in Spanish, but she writes, you know, this story she wrote in English. So, you know, that's also a motivation for me. It's kind of inspirational. She's such a great creative writer. You know, she needs to, you know, I want to see her publish more of her stories.
Laura, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, no, Dulce recorded a motivational video for our students because it's a challenge. There are many challenges. People work, people have kids. So she recorded a beautiful video in Spanish for our ESOL students, and that helps them a lot when they need that extra. Yeah,
I can see just from the program we've made a start here now. You know, Dulce. It's funny, just before we started, I should mention, Dulce was a little apprehensive about being on the air, and you're doing great, Dulce. You know, doesn't seem to hold you back. So we have a winner of a student here. And Laura, back to the organization, very impressed. So you're doing lots of things with the students. So you're teaching them how to speak, but you also work with them on the writing.
Yeah.
And then,
And
then you also work with them on the reading ability as well?
Yes. When we teach English, we teach everything. Grammar, reading, writing. everything.
Yeah. So that's a major undertaking for your volunteers. I mean, they have to be pretty good in all this stuff. Talk about, if I can, or in terms of the program overall, aside from Dulce being, I guess, one of our stars of the program, do you have any like success stories you can share, or just even one that you like to share with somebody who you work with or the organization work with, and now is
Yeah, we have many success stories, and people can find them if they go to our website, lead-together.org. There is a section success stories, but I am thinking about a student. I can't say her name for safety reasons, but she came from Afghanistan in June 2000. I don't remember the dates, but she came here as a refugee with her family, and a few months after, she started taking English lessons, and she doesn't know how to read in her own language. So it was challenging to teach her English. But after a few months, she took a class of, she's making earrings and bracelets and necklaces. And now she has her own business. She was interviewed by the local TV station. And yeah, she's very happy. Her business is growing and her English is improving a lot too. So
great story.
Yeah.
And I'll ask Katherine the same thing too, in terms of the students you've worked with. Do you have any one that comes to mind, or any success story you can care to share?
I don't especially want to pick any out. I mean, we have Dulce here, who is, like I said, she has the gift for creative writing, and she's the most advanced student that I've had. Now, I've not had a lot because I've just been involved with this maybe a year and a half or so. But I'm looking forward to more students, as a matter of fact. And what I could say is they're all just so hard workers, and they, it's very inspirational as a tutor, because you could see they're very interested, they're trying, and they get it bit by bit. And it just makes me want to continue, because I see how hard they try and that they make progress.
Yeah, and I think every step, I think every step is a success. Like being able to go to the grocery store and talk to someone and make conversation, that's a big success. Like, it's, one day at a time.
Well, Laura, if I can ask you one other question having to do with, how does this tie into the regular school system? In other words, that this is what I'm hearing from Katherine, this is in addition to going to regular school or taking classes. Is that how it works, that you go to some of the school age?
We don't teach ESOL to children. Asheville City schools, in Buncombe County schools, they have teachers who teach English to kids. We work with adults only.
So these are people, and they don't have to have any education level. Like I said, the one woman you just mentioned, they can come at any level and you'll work with them?
Yep.
And that's an amazing story you just told. So a woman from Afghanistan couldn't even speak her own language. She had trouble with her own language, and she's picking up English.
She's learning English, and her English is improving every day, and she's making a life here. She has 2 beautiful kids, and it's a very inspirational story.
And how do the students find you? In other words, I know adults can now find you because of this podcast, and we'll publicize it, but how do students find you to come into the program?
It's like Dulce's story, like friends, family, they tell each other. And that's why we have a waiting list right now. And we had to close the waiting list because it's like we have 100 people. So we can take more students, but we are the only organization. There is AB Tech and they do group classes, but this is the only organization that does one-on-one tutoring.
And about how many volunteers do you currently have?
We have 250, around 250 the ESOL program. Then we have about 50 with the adult literacy program, and about 50 with the youth literacy program.
Okay. So again, I'll ask you to repeat, the best way to get more information to sign up is to go to the website initially?
Yes, to the website, or they can send me an email. I don't know if you are going to be able
to. Well, please
it's my name, Laura, Laura, at lead-together.org.
Okay. And I'll ask you to repeat that. So if they want to get information, go to the website, or maybe even better, just go to the to email you. And would
Yes.
this be for volunteers primarily we're looking for now? People could come on board with the program?
Yes, we need volunteers, but people, if they want to get involved or if they want to learn more about Literacy Together, they can come to our orientation meeting, or they can send me an email. I can answer their questions. But our biggest need right now is for ESOL volunteers, yes.
Do you have an upcoming orientation?
Yes, tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Okay, no, that's fine. So if anybody's
and
listening,
then Thursday, no, but we have 2 a month. So they are
month.
usually, the next one in August, it's August 8th and August 10th.
And that'll be the website.
Yeah, that's on the website. They can sign up online.
And where are the orientations?
They are online.
Okay, so it's very easy to get to. Just sign up online and you come on board. Anyway, I just want to, first of all, thank all three of you for this great work you're doing, and especially Katherine as a volunteer and Laura as the director of the program. But especially the one that blew me away, Dulce. It's just what you're doing is just amazing. And again, the funny thing I know, and you guys heard it as well, but Dulce was all sorts of nervous beforehand. He said, how will I know? I'm asking you a question, and you figured it out pretty quickly. And now I'm looking for, I can't believe you're going to have your second book coming up.
Yes.
That's exciting. How does that feel when you get a book published? What was the feeling like?
Well, my book, I share my book all around. Let me tell you, Mexico, Connecticut, Savannah, Georgia, all around here, Fairview, Hendersonville, Fletcher, with all my friends. For all I share is around more than 60 copies. And it feels so, I'm very blessed. I can tell you how happy I am, especially with the talent God gave me, because this is not mine, He gave me. So what I wrote is what I feeling in my heart. For example, the letter I wrote, my teachers mentioned, I wrote in Spanish, but I'm going to translate it in English, because my book, my first book, impact people with cancer, people who is, I share my book with 4 people who has a process with cancer. And they told me how they touching by my story that encouraged me to continue it. Because the second story, all my stories are reflection of life, something to reflect in everybody's life in different situation. So my book is not the only organization published my book is Literacy Together, but I give all around to give and share my book, because what I'm looking for is touch hearts to the people. Some people it needs a word. Some people needs motivation. So my stories are motivational and encourage you in different areas in their lives. And I feel very blessed to have Literacy Together in my life. My teacher, I'm very happy to have her because she's part of my group. She helped me to correct, like she mentioned, she helped me with my grammar and some things. And I have friends from Costa Rica. They help me to design. They help me to design the 4th page, fix the paragraph, put the photos where I tell you to place it. So I have a very good group for my books can come through. And the first person in the first is to have, I'm being guided by God, what I'm going to write, and I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed and very happy. I can express how happy I am when I'm writing, because when I'm writing, I forget everything, my problems, things to do. So I let my mind flow to what I'm going to write.
If I could say the same token, I'm very blessed to have had you as a guest on my show today.
Thank
and
you.
Laura, I'll ask you a final question having to do with how does the match work? In other words, somebody signs up that they want to be tutored. You know, you have that waiting list. And then how do you match them up with Katherine to the world? Is there a formula?
Our program directors do that. They're matchmakers. It's an art. You have to consider people's personalities, people's needs, also the schedule. Some people can do only in the evenings or the weekends. So it's an art, but it's done every day, and the results are always successful.
I guess lastly, you mentioned too, this is not just in the Asheville-Buncombe County area. This is a national organization. Is that correct?
No. We are a Buncombe County organization, but we accept volunteers from all over the world for this program.
No, but I guess there are similar, so Literacy Together is just Buncombe County, but aren't there other programs like this in other parts of the country?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
But are they all called Literacy Together?
If they work with Literacy Together, that's your question?
Yeah, are they all under that one umbrella? Or they
No. We work only in Buncombe County. We serve people in Buncombe County. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you very much for explaining to me. Katherine, thanks for being my guest, and Dulce. And I look forward to, that second and third book. I'll look forward to it. And then next time we have Laura on, we'll look forward to having the joke. You'll have a joke prepared for us, Laura. And Katherine, I don't know what your special skill or talent will be, but you can.
Art.
Art, that's right. Well, Katherine, will show your art next time. We'll do a show on your art. We'll have a talent show, Laura. We'll do a whole thing. This is great. Hey, thanks, guys. You were great. I'll get this to you out tomorrow. Thanks for being my guest. And thanks also, Kathy, to setting my producer. See you, folks. Be well.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.